The second means to materialize your ideal is you must make the thought construction a reality on the physical level as well. You say, my higher self is shaped by my thoughts and feelings. Thus, I am always happy and think positive. Am I then already a member of the sixth race? No. Unfortunately, it is not as simple as some esoterics claim. With your thoughts and feelings, you are indeed shaping your spiritual being. However, we had already said, man is an inseparable unit of physical, subtle, and fiery body. These three components form an entirety. Man is a creature the feet of which are upon earth and the head in heaven. Your eternal individuality, which you wish to develop, is only the top of this pyramid. There must be no break, no separation between the three levels. What applies above must also apply below. This means you cannot be a disciple or a king in the fiery body, in thought, and a lecher on the material level. When your soul thinks and feels great and beautiful in your quiet little room at home, but your body behaves like a weakling in life on the street, your heroism is still far away from realization. Your ideal must grow to become a reality on all three levels. Crucial is to stand the test on earth. Here it is revealed. Are you still dreaming or already realizing your ideal? Your transformation into a being of spirit, a disciple or a king, is only completed when your high thoughts and feelings are reflected in a corresponding attitude of the physical being on the material level. Your fantasy becomes a reality when you make it appear on the material plane. Of course, not in the sense that you actually ascend the throne of the King of England or physically go to school with a spiritual teacher. Often this will not be possible at all, and it is also not necessary for the education of your supra-temporal individuality. Rather, you have to validate the devised subtle reality on the physical plane by behaving as if you were a disciple or a king. As if means you take the attitude like a true king or disciple, like someone who is a king or a disciple, at least in the higher world. That means according to his inner nature. You not only think and feel, but also speak and act the way a king or a disciple does. Thereby, the spiritual reality becomes a material one. This is how your fantasy image materializes. The perishable personality that you are in this current incarnation, shoemaker, father of a family, nurse, is insignificant. This is not you. In addition to that, you build up your second, eternal identity, which is much more important. You lead, so to speak, a double life. At the same time, you are inwardly a king and outwardly a shoemaker. Form a picture of a king or a queen. Or of a disciple. Vivify the image that you envision as an ideal. Become like a child again, who, while playing, really is an Indian or a knight who saves people in distress and fights for the good. Imagine, play, behave as if you were an envoy from a higher sphere, descending to the earthly level to help those who are waiting for support from above. We can speak of a virtual path. You are a virtual king or disciple. This is like in those computer games where you build up a virtual personality that lives in a virtual world. The key difference, however, is you transfer your dream into material reality and appear on the stage of the ordinary, everyday earthly life with your virtual identity. You must not allow any word or act that is incompatible with your new dignity. This is a difficult task. In life on earth, you will be tested in all sorts of circumstances as to whether you really are already a king or a disciple, according to your true inner nature. We come back to the portrait of Nicholas Roerich as Dalai Lama. He must maintain his supratemporal dignity as a worldly and spiritual leader of a whole nation in a later incarnation as well, in which he is a homeless, destitute refugee, expelled by the Russian Revolution to Finland, England, the United States, and finally to India. When you do not succeed in defending the position of a king or a disciple down here on earth, and in particular when you get into difficult situations, then you do not occupy such a position in the subtle world, in eternity, in the hierarchy either. As below, so above. The iron law reads, anyone who proves unsuitable for a position will not be admitted or dismissed. A very important tool to affirm the subtle reality of your ideal image in the material world is you give up obsolete habits that are incompatible with your new dignity. The greatest enemy of the new man are his old habits. You know best yourself. Even if you have largely overcome the craving for delicious food, it is the power of your habits that brings you to the table at a certain moment, although you are not hungry at all, and that induces you to eat too much or the wrong food, although in actual fact you do not even have appetite. Turn this disadvantage into an advantage. Use the power of your habits and form new ones which fit your ideal. Thereby, you really change your nature because the habits are our second nature. Habit is second nature, a wise proverb indicating to what an extent habit dominates man. the chief enemies of cooperation will be the small habits of selfishness. The new man of the sixth race differs from the old one above all in his higher habits. A fall back into animal habits causes him to crash immediately and throws him back to the lower level. How many achievements accumulated through centuries are swept away by one unrestrained roaring? For example, as a disciple, you form the habit of stepping before the teacher 3 times a day and leading a spiritual conversation with him. You get used to the law of the disciple. If you live according to this law one day and violate it the next day, you are not really a disciple yet. As a king, for example, you adopt the habit of wearing an invisible crown and giving example and guidance to your fellow men. Through such habits, you form over time your inner nature and develop an eternal individuality with a corresponding character. Again, you see, we are not merely concerned with fantasies. To appear in the world with a royal attitude or with the habits of a disciple is not a fancy, but already a material reality. It is important that you realize how you think, feel, speak or act depends upon you yourself alone. Nobody and nothing can force you into thoughts, feelings, words or deeds which run counter to your new position. You yourself aggrandize yourself. Only you alone can diminish yourself. The formation of your supermundane individuality, the realization of your personal ideal, is possible at any time and at any place. The most difficult circumstances even offer the best opportunities, as we had learned in the broadcasting Rejoice at Obstacles. Let us now start the creation process. How do I practically proceed to bring my soul to life? As long as you are busy with your everyday affairs, your eternal individuality has no opportunity to come out of its deep shaft and to manifest itself. You have to give it the time and space it needs to find to its life. This happens especially in meditation, in moments of rest and elevation. Your soul comes to life. You start every new day by placing before your eyes in the morning the ideal that you wish to realize in earthly life, according to which you want to form your subtle being. Following the examples we have chosen, the image of a disciple of the teachings of wisdom or of a king of the spirit. You create a corresponding state of your consciousness. I am a disciple of the brotherhood, or I am a king. And you firmly undertake to bravely defend this position during the worldly day. I already told you the bad news. It will take billions of years for your fiery body to be fully developed. The good news is, in meditation, you can at any time put yourself for a moment in a state of purity, power, and joy of being. At that moment, the spirit matter of your being is in a higher vibration, and your fiery body is emerging. I cannot make it clear enough. In meditation, there takes place a real transformation. Above all, however, you have to experience yourself. By putting yourself in a state of higher vibration, you are actually transforming into a higher being. You overcome the purely physical condition. In meditation, you really are a being of spirit. Your eternal individuality comes to light, like the butterfly from the caterpillar. A creature full of purity, vitality, joy of being, and selflessness, and free from desires. The treasure, the potential, is unlocked. The Titan that lies hidden within you has awakened. Now your soul is alive. The better you meditate, the safer you will experience. It is an undescribable exhilaration to live in this sublime original state of the soul. Can we do without the religious concept of a soul? Yes, we may also put it scientifically. Even if you doubt whether you have a soul and whether you can perceive it, the vibrational state of your being, joyful or depressed, powerful or weak, pure or dirty, this you can sense. This is not easy to understand. In meditation, all of a sudden, I am a different, a higher being, which I am not in normal everyday life. Yes, exactly. Let us consider two examples.